Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Clyde Sharati from African Media Australia, and tonight on African Knowledge Show, we will be talking about comedy. Yeah, this is the very first time we will be dealing with this specific topic. Comedy is very important. In fact, in all societies, humor plays an important role, not just in making fun, really having fun, but also communicating messages and educating even the community in ways that make people feel really quite at ease. Some humor can be provocative sometimes, but that's all goes into the education of the society as an art. So we thought in within the African Australian community, we would like to be able to highlight some of the work that is being done by some of our comedians. We have a few African Australian comedians in Australia, but we don't always get the chance to see them as much as we should. And part of that is because perhaps we don't necessarily support the work that they do. So we ought to be able to showcase all the talents that we have, and comedy is one such talent that deserves to be highlighted. So to speak about this topic with me, I have Vincent Tshaka, who is a comedian and who's been in Australia for quite some time, and we're gonna try to spend the next 30 minutes with him and see if we can get a little bit of fun for him and some lessons that we can learn that relates to comedy. So, Vincent, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Clyde. Really happy to be on the show.
Okay, it looks like we have a bit of a internet problem there. It's a bit slow. Can you hear me? Okay,
it's
Vincent has just frozen.
fine. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay,
Okay, that's good. So
I'm still here.
yeah. Just say it again because it was a bit slow and sort of froze
Okay.
in the process. How are you going tonight?
Yeah. So I was like, I'm good. I'm good, and I'm really happy to be here. It
Yeah.
is. I think it's very nice to have an African forum that is going to focus on um, the different arts that Africans have in Australia, and comedy being one of them. So really happy to be here and share my story.
All right. Before we go into the topic, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your journey into Australia, and anything that you would like to mention in that regard.
Yeah, I'm from Kenya most of the time, which is one of my jokes that I normally say is that I cannot run uh, because that's a very question of every time people ask you if where you're from is can you run if they hear you're from Kenya. But I've been
Yeah,
in Australia for the 16 years.
absolutely. Oh, that's good. You cannot run because not every Kenyans run. Yeah, isn't it?
It's been wonderful. I discovered too much KFC when I got here.
Oh,
We
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
fast food back then in Kenya. Yeah.
So you added a little bit of weight, and
So
obviously that slows you down, man. You can't move through the air with that.
yes, 100%, 100%. I look at some of my
All right,
pictures. Yeah, and
that's okay.
I've put on a lot of weight.
You put a lot of weight. That's okay. I mean, we're sort of in the same boat.
Yeah,
Myself, I can't run much. You may not see everything, but it's
yeah,
right there. All right. What
yeah.
led you to go into comedy?
I've always loved comedy. So when I was growing up, I grew up with a lot of British and American comedy, and I enjoyed it. Some of the favorite people I used to watch were people like Richard Pryor, the late Barney Mac, George Carlin, D.H. Hughley, Chris Rock. So I grew up with that kind of comedy. And when I moved to Australia, wanting to be part of the society, I used to watch comedy, and there was a show called Stand Up Australia that I used to watch every weekend.
Hmm.
And I never understood it. I never got it. And so, like, I'd watch it, and I never understood what the humor was on it, and I decided that I thought I was funnier. So that's how I got into comedy. It wasn't like a childhood dream, but it was a dream that I grew into after getting to Australia.
I see. All right. Now we're gonna play a short clip that shows some of your work,
All right.
and we will obviously want people to say a little bit of that. You mentioned fast food.
In Australia, 16 years.
Yes.
Life being in Australia. When I first got to Australia, it was a really different, atmosphere when I got here. Long flight, 23 hours took me to get here, including stopovers. I got here, I was really hungry. A friend of mine picked me up from the airport. I was like, dude, I'm so starving. I need food. And I was like, all right, cool, we'll get you some food. And I have to point it out at this point, the reason I was hungry was not because there was no food in Kenya. I just didn't eat on the flights, okay? Now some of you, it's called world vision. No, they don't need you. They don't need you. I hadn't eaten on the flight and I was really hungry. So my friend was like, what do you want to eat? I said, anything. So picked me up from the airport, went back to his place. I put my stuff in my room and I was like, dude, I am starving. And he said, what would you like to eat? I said, anything. He said, how about we go get some fast food? We'll go get some chicken. I was like, great. So I went into my room and I got into my running gear. And then and then we got in his car and I freaked the fuck out. I was like, how fast are the chicken in Australia? You have to test them by car. And then we went through a drive-through and we got chicken. And I was like, what witchcraft is this? I said, no, this is how we get chicken in Australia. This is fast food. Now, some of you who are laughing too hard have just chicken, I assume. Because Kenya, that's my version of fast food. I have to chase my own chicken.
You gotta chase your own chicken in Kenya. That's very funny. Remember that's what we used to do when we were little. If you want to get a chicken, you gotta run for it.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 I remember doing that with my cousins and getting like 5, 6, 10 children chasing one chicken.
Yeah.
That was fast food.
So the fast food started pretty much from when you arrived here, and that couldn't help you running, my friend. But even though you were getting ready to run, but you're already thinking of fast food. The two don't necessarily work together. Yeah.
Not in this context. Yeah, not when I landed here. It was a different concept for me. It was very foreign. Like we now have fast food in Kenya and all that, but when I came, we didn't have that initially.
Absolutely. Now,
yeah,
tell me how important do you think comedy is in today's society with all the stress that people accumulate through work? We're busy like hell in Australia. We don't get time to rest, and that is something that never stops. It's just getting worse and worse. People just get busier and busier, and how can comedy sort of help in that whole process?
I think comedy is one of those things that if we look at comedy, we look at it right now from someone performing for you, staying on stage and telling jokes. But I found comedy to be everywhere. It's how I talk to my friends. It's how I relate to people. So laughter is a good thing. It diffuses tension. It keeps people. It's good for your mental health. It's I feel it saves relationships. So and there's so many things like the importance of laughing. For example, it kind of induces those physical changes in your body. You get endorphins. The intake of oxygen. It enriches your lungs. You stimulates your heart. So there's a lot of positivity in comedy, and I think the reason I share and I love doing comedy is to see people laugh, to see people appreciate the ridiculousness of a story. And especially now, like with COVID, having comedy clubs shut down, having people not being able to go out and watch comedy is a tragedy in itself, because if people laugh more, people are, kind of a little bit healthier in terms of they feel good about life, and or they can laugh about an experience that you have shared, and they go back home feeling a little bit relaxed. So it's a good thing in society, and I encourage a lot of people, if they feel that they have the talent to do it. But comedy is not necessarily just performing on stage. It's just being able to be happy in even the saddest times, just being able to roll with those punches.
Absolutely. It's not something that just is for stage, as you said. In fact,
Exactly. Yeah.
humor can be used in everyday life, and
Yeah.
it spices up life a little bit. Even
Yeah.
at home, with I know with my wife, we're always poking fun at each other. We go into
Hmm.
this tribal sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm poking fun at her tribe, and she does it for me. And before you know, it's all. So anyway, but
Yeah.
how do you adapt
Yeah.
then the how do you adapt the sort of the African comedy into Australia? I know your comedy is not necessarily just for Africans; it's for the broader
Hmm.
public. But did you have to think of how, from your background and the material you have, how you can sort of adapt it into the Australian society?
I did. Um, I did, and because I felt that the comedy that I was trying to do, uh, I wanted it to be international.
Mm.
If we look, and not blaming anyone or saying other comedians are not funny, but back home we have this, like you were just saying with your wife. It's about making fun of each other's tribes, and it's very
Yeah,
slapstick. It's very I call it knock knock. It's like knock knock, who's there? You give the joke, and then that's it.
yeah,
While watching international comedy, most comedians are all about telling you the story, and it's a journey about something that has happened. So I had to adapt that and try and, as much as possible, communicate a larger picture story than just a one-line story. So my style of comedy, for example, is I uh, I do a lot of stories, and then try and put as many jokes within that story. So, and that was the adaptation. So I've had people who have come in from Africa to my shows. Some of them, people who have from time, understand how that comedy works, and then I've had people who've come in who are newer, and they're comparing it to the comedy back home, and they're like, "No, your comedy is for white people."
mm.
It's not just knock knock slap job fun. You're telling stories, and that's more white people kind of comedy, which is different. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, when I listen to Australian comedy, for example, I hear a lot of sex into it. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's just me. Do you believe? I mean, do you also think that is the case? And obviously, from our African perspective, uh,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of sex into comedy. In fact, it's sort of thing that we don't really talk about
We,
pub,
I,
publicly.
I
How do you
think
adapt
we're
it?
on a cultural. I think on a cultural level, we still find sex to be taboo.
Yeah.
uh, and that's why we don't joke about it.
Yes.
While in Australian culture, sex is normal, so you can talk about sex, you can joke about sex, and I think that's where the difference is. So we still hold sex as a taboo topic. As a topic, it's taboo, but on behavior, we're just as bad. you know.
Or maybe we're better.
Yeah, or maybe just better at it. So we try and pretend as if it's not a thing, but it's a thing. So
Yeah.
I do have stories of a sexual nature in my show, but then it also depends on where I'm performing, what crowd I'm performing to. But I think at the end of the day, the message is not the sex. The message is the joke about the sex. So sex is just the vehicle, but it's just the joke that will come out of that makes it a funnier story. So I think like that's the only difference between people who talk about sexual stuff and like our African colleagues who do not talk about it. So yeah.
All right. Let me actually play another video of you performing, and then we will after that talk about some other things. Just give me a second. All right.
Sure.
What's up? Right. Nice. 2,000 years ago, this would be a slave auction. Yeah, some of you are laughing now, but you would have bought me. I love racism. I really do. I enjoy racism so much. I think we should hate each other a little bit more. Seriously, it's funny. It's really funny. And I don't think like people say are politically correct nowadays, so they're like, oh, you can't say this because this is racism. You can't say that because that's racism. I personally feel racism is less in a little bit of truth that society knows but are afraid of saying. Like Asian people can't drive. It's a fact. It's not being racist. White people can't dance. It's a fact. Black people can't swim. It's a fact. There are all these little truths that people are scared of, you know. And then I find, I was living overseas, I just came back, and when I was overseas, I missed Australia. And the reason I missed Australia was I missed racism, and don't take it wrong. Seriously, I've been here 10 years, and in the 10 years that I've been here, it doesn't matter where I am, every time I'm at a place, having a drink, reading a paper, someone will always come up to me and say, where are you from? Now that's such a very Australian question that nobody asked me when I was overseas. I was like, fuck, no one cares. So I miss that. Because I feel Australians ask me that question for 3 reasons. 1, they want to know where you're from. 2, it's because they want to identify. See, say if you meet someone and, oh, what do you do? I'm an accountant. You'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't done my taxes, something like that. An identity thing, right? So say if you met someone from another country, say you met someone from India, you'd be like, where are you from? I'm from India. Oh, I love curry. Where are you from? Sri Lanka? Oh, the Taj Mahal. Where are you from? Pakistan? Ah, I've been in a taxi. I'm from Kenya though. What's that home? You been to Kenya? You have? Where? Nairobi. Nice. That's where I'm from. I'm from Kenya. One person's been to Nairobi. You guys need to share that. Yeah, I'm from Kenya, and I realize nobody knows anything about Kenya because the only question I get asked is, can you run? No. Can't run.
Okay. I'm from Kenya. I can't run. So tell me about some of your performances. I mean, you obviously go to comedy clubs and all that sort of thing. How have you been performing all around Australia?
So done a lot of. I started in comedy clubs and still do comedy clubs. That's just the natural progression of comedy. You always have to go out and try new material, test new material. I started at the Comics Lounge, moved from the Comics Lounge and started performing in very many other places. I've been. I went to. Travel to the US and Canada, and then in Australia, just going following the festival. So, Perth Fringe Festival, Adelaide Festival, done clubs in Brisbane and Gold Coast, and done 5 comedy festivals now. So, the Melbourne Comedy Festival. So yeah, it's been a really I feel very blessed to be doing that and having that journey and traveling and performing. It's yeah, I feel really blessed for that.
Are there many African Australian comedians? I haven't seen many in my view. That's probably because maybe I haven't maybe been
Yeah.
paying sufficient attention. But what do you know about other African comedians in Australia?
Well, they're coming up. They're coming up. Let's say when I started 13 years ago, I was the only African comedian. I want to say I don't know if there was anyone else, but I never saw anyone else, and I never bumped into anyone else. So technically, I would say, and I stand by to be the pioneer of African comedy in Australia. I'll take that. And a lot of other comedians have come through. So we've got comedians from Ethiopia and Sudan and South Africa, and Eritrea. So we've got a couple of other African nations that are coming up. I opened up the way. They're doing their own thing. We do come along together sometimes and help each other in doing shows. But yeah, they're there. Quite a few of them are based in Perth. We have a few based in Melbourne. We have a few in Sydney. So yeah, we're just they're there. We haven't come together per se as an African community to do one major big show. Hopefully,
Is
we
that
can
is that
do
something
that.
you would like to be able to do?
I would love to do that and just be able to showcase, all the countries. So, have our own festival probably, and just showcase the different types of styles and humor that we have. I think that would be fantastic, and it also exposes us as a community of comedians to Australia.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I guess because comedy is art, there are government organizations that support African arts. I see a lot of them giving a lot of support to sort of musicians and all that sort of thing. Have they also been supportive of you guys in your specific field in any way?
N- Not, yeah, not as much, and that's the problem. Like, I think sometimes even from some of these organizations, they look at art as artists who are either drawing or musicians or
Mm,
actors and stuff of thing, and haven't considered comedy to be one of those. So if we can get those grants as well,
yeah.
that would be great. The other thing that makes it a little bit harder is with a lot of comedians. Now we're getting to a point where some people are actually doing it as a full-time job, but most of the time stuff. So most of this grant would have a caveat of saying, you have to be doing a full-time job and show us your income statement. And some of us are doing it and we're not getting paid that much money or nothing at all sometimes. So, getting a grant when you're just doing clubs and you can't show an income also makes it a little bit tricky. So it would be nice to get some of that government support, some of those organizations that can support art, but also make it easier for us to get those grants to kind of help us build the art. Yeah.
I suppose if you come together as some sort of association of African Australian comedians, that will probably make it a little easier, in my view, to facilitate the grant with the government. Because if you apply from a individual level, the bar is quite high. But as an association promoting the art of comedy,
Yeah.
as well as communicating various messages, because through comedy, we get to know each other's culture, each other's thinking, and I think as an association, that's likely to strike some chord with the decision makers from the government. Perhaps that's something that you may consider, and that also brings you together. You can sort of enrich
Yeah.
each other through that association, I'm assuming. We're having a bit of a issue there to hear
Yeah.
you.
It would be lovely to have that. It would be lovely to have that.
Yeah.
But you know how Africans we are. We don't work together very well.
Yeah, that has been a problem
Yeah.
in our communities.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Let me just remind those watching. You're watching African Knowledge tonight, and I am speaking to Vincent Tshaka, who is a comedian, and he's talking to us about his work and some of the things that relates to comedy, the African comedy in the Australian context. If you have questions, please ask. We have him for another 10 minutes or so. Don't hesitate to ask questions, and you can share this feed through your network for other people to watch as well. Now, let me ask Vincent. When you see the on the international stage, you have people like Trevor Noah, who has really reached quite a high level
yeah.
with his gig. I mean, not his gig, his job with the Daily Show. Him being from an African background, has
Mhm.
that sort of changed anything for African comedians on the international stage?
I think he's, I think he has set up a platform for
Yeah.
people to follow. He's set up the path to follow. The
Mm.
problem is we also find that you're not Trevor Noah, so people will always try and compare you to him. So I
Mm.
guess he's set the path. He's put the bar up there for people to kind of reach. But uh, I think what I would like to tell a lot of audiences tonight is he got there through the same way we are working, which is going to comedy clubs, and he got that support from there. People following his journey by either liking his videos, sharing his videos, before he got discovered. So it's not magic where he got from, and he did not just wake up one day, decided he wanted to do comedy, and now he's famous. He put in the work like most of us are doing here. We would just need that support of the community, especially African community. Australians, I'm already performing for Australians, so it would be good to have that African community behind us to, uh, push us as a block and be like, that's a comedian who's recognized within his community, and people go and watch his show. So it might create interest in promoters and managers coming to see what it is that is attracting people to our shows, and that is a stepping stone to where we need to be.
Absolutely. So I suppose you're saying that, obviously, that more support from the African Australian community will help you guys. And as we sort of quickly mentioned before, even before when we're preparing this show,
Yeah.
that is something that is quite lacking in our communities, supporting each other in what we do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because if you look at, I'll use an example of someone like Ronnie Chang. When he was doing his show, you'd get a lot of Malaysian Chinese people going to his show. If you look like people like um, what's his name, Nazim, he'd get people, from his background going to his show. You know what I mean? With
Yeah,
Aussie comedians, you get a lot of Aussies going to their show. And
yeah,
then, when you get African comedians, now you're trying to compete with all these people who already have blocks of their community supporting them, uh, while we don't get the same. So you get you probably even get people in the African community going to watching these people and saying, "Oh, that guy's funny, that guy's funny, that guy's funny," but they never go, "That's an African comedian. Let's go watch his show." And give you that opportunity to showcase your funniness as well.
yeah, absolutely. But I suppose it also depends on how you guys promote yourself as well. Do you how do you promote your show so that the community is aware of what you are doing, and it's it made clear that you would appreciate support from the community in those shows, or you
Yeah.
just on whatever is happening from a comedy club, or perhaps a festival where they're promoting the festival in general without really putting any
Yeah.
emphasis on the comedy part of it.
I try. Look, if I'm doing the comedy festival, then you advertise on the comedy festival. But on a personal level, I try and appeal. Charity begins from home, from my friends.
Yeah.
And then uh, what I tell my friends is, even if you don't want to come to my show, that's fine. But you've got friends and they've got friends. If you forward that to them, then that brings people to the show.
Mm,
I try and get in touch with like African organizations, so East African community, Zimbabwean community, Jamaican community, on their Facebook pages, and I ask their admin, I'm doing a show. Can you promote my show on your pages? Uh,
mm,
some of them do, some of them don't. We have like this Instagram, I think, in Africans in Australia or something like that. I try and get in touch with them and ask them to promote the show. But again, like I said, we do not get that much support from uh, these organizations or these groups. So, uh, you try that, but you also try other avenues to get your message out. So if people come, they come. And I guess at the end of it, it's just word of mouth. So some people have
yeah.
watched me and they go and tell their friends, and their friends come along. So yeah, it's we're still working that part out.
Absolutely. Well, we can tell you that we here at Africa Media Swallow would like to be able to promote what Africans are doing, and I think comedy uh, is very important in terms of not just having fun, but being used. You can be used as a vehicle to communicate many messages to educate the community. So we're trying to invite you guys more and more to participate in what we're doing, and hopefully that adds something into what you would like to see happening in the community. I'll take one comment from John, who's watching, and say comedy can be a lucrative venture for our African youth. How can we sensitize our people to attend comedy shows? Can community leaders be roped in to convince their communities to support and attend comedy shows? It's the honest for comedians to aggressively promote themselves. Don't wait. What do you think about that comment?
Um, yeah, we work aggressively to do it. It's like when I'm marketing my shows, I go to my friends all the time, and sometimes I feel I'm even uh, spamming them with messages.
Mm,
But the again, with our communities, they're very diverse, so it depends
mm,
on you getting a leg into that. Like, I cannot go to, say, the Ethiopian community and be like, I'm a comedian, I want you guys to come to my show. uh, you need to have those communities. And like I said, there's Ethiopian comedians out there, there's Eritrean, there's Ghanaian comedians. So what I had said before about, if we all come together and do one show, then we're bringing everyone from everyone's community into one space to enjoy that. And in that same way, the kind of sample, okay, that's a Kenyan, that's the style of humor, that's Ghanaian, that's the style of humor, that's Eritrean, that's the style of humor, so that by the time I'm doing my own solo show, then they already know where I want to go, you know, where will I enjoy stuff like that. We can be aggressive, but you can only be as aggressive as humanly possible. You can't go beating people with a stick to come to your show. You know, you can.
You come, otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah, you know, like we say, you can lead the cow to the river, but you can't force it to drink. So we're out there, we're doing our thing. We talk to the community as much as we can, and that's as aggressive as we can be. The rest is for the community to wake up and see those opportunities and want to come and support.
All right. I suppose right now, with everything that is happening with COVID, that's limiting opportunities to for you guys to perform. But and then it also another opportunity for maybe some online promotion. We'll be happy here at African Media to maybe organize more opportunities where you guys come together and trying to do something. If that may help to some extent, what do you think?
We can try, but online is very difficult because comedy is all about energy. So when you're out there and people are in front of you, you're feeding off that energy from them. But definitely, I will put the word out to some of the comedians that I know, and if they're happy to come on the show, and we can do like what you did, you know, play a couple of videos, so that if they have videos, they can play them on definitely go on YouTube and find some of us, and you know, and subscribe to our channels. And every time we have shows, we normally just put things out there, you know, on our YouTube channels, Instagram, Facebook. So if you follow us, there's definitely information.
All right. As we get close to the end of the show, and I know you have to go. Probably just a couple more questions quickly. One is, what can you tell the young people out there who may want to follow suit and who have some humor skills that they can put together to develop as comedians? What would be your advice?
My advice, and I got this advice from a very famous comedian who I follow, this: just don't listen to anyone's advice. Because it's very different. But if you feel you've got the skill, is trying it. Comedy, like any other skill, it's like going to the gym. The more you perform, the better you get. So it's not a magic pill that you will start and you'll become Trevor Noah. It's a journey. And be resilient, because it is cutthroat out there. There is a bit of racism even in the industry. There is a lot of competition. So you need to figure out a way to be able to stand out. And I think the best thing is, or the best advice that I'll probably give is be original. As Africans, our humor is similar, but you can still be original and have your own for yourself.
All right. And what will be your last message to the public there watching? What would you want to tell them?
Get on my YouTube channel, Vincent Tshaka Comedy. That's the same on Instagram, Tshaka Comedy, Facebook. And we love you. The reason we're doing it is not because we want to get famous. I got into comedy because I want to tell our stories. I want to tell our struggles. So come out, come support us. It's very interesting when you're performing and you have African people in your audience, because you don't have to explain the joke, because we have the same style of humor. We have the same similar kind of backgrounds. It's very easy for people to, you say something and they already go like, I know where this is going. and you don't have to explain the joke. So we would love a bit more people from African communities to come out and have an open mind into watching comedy. So, like Clyde was asking about, is it sexualized? Is it is it racist? Is it pro-white? Is it pro-black? It's just comedy, but at the end of the day, we do have a message that we're trying to talk or to give, and that's what you should take away with you. We just want to create that conversation from a larger aspect and make people laugh about it. But when they go home, they can think about, hang on, why was that said like that, and create conversation. It's comedy is life. Comedy is everyday life. So we should enjoy it and be able to talk about stuff like that.
All right, Vincent Tshaka, we want to say thank you for coming to Africa Media Australia to share a little bit about your work in the comedy space. We appreciate your time, and we wish you good luck. Obviously, we would want the very reason why we invited you on this show is we're trying to highlight some of the work that African comedians are doing in the community, and it's important for us
I
to.
really, yeah.
Oh, it's a shame that we're not hearing everything you're saying because of the probably slow internet affecting where you are. Can you still hear me okay?
Exactly, really. Yeah, I can hear you okay. I was
Yeah,
just
go
going to
ahead.
say, I'm really glad that we got to have this, to have a forum like yours, and bringing me along to be able to, discuss some of the talents that we have in the African community. So, you know, keep up the good work. We're always here to support you as well, as much as you're here to support us. And hopefully we can be able to grow this industry, make it as big as they are in the UK and in America and everywhere else, and, make it Australian.
Absolutely. And we intend to invite you more often on the show to comment some of the stories happening in the media. I mean, there's so much stressful out there in the society. So if we can talk about information and things happening in the society with a bit of humor, I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that. So this may be your first time on the platform, but certainly not the last. And
Yeah.
we would like to be able to develop a closer relationship between you and us, and between all the rest of the comedians in the community. So if you're watching and you know an African comedian out there, please tell him to contact us at Africa Media Australia, and we'll be more than happy to not only have them on the show, but see how we can work together to promote our community. It's all about promoting our stories, telling our stories in the way we want to tell, and sharing knowledge and wisdom, and that's how we'll help us to move forward as a community. Again, thank you very much, Vincent, for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me, Clyde, and have a good night. And we'll see you on those news segments very soon.
No worries. Thanks, man. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Vincent is gone, but the show is not quite yet finished. It's important to sort of reflect a little bit on African arts. A lot of times we only talk about music. Obviously, a lot of us Africans like music, like dancing and all that. But there are many other artistic talents that are there that perhaps are not as promoted as they should be, including maybe painting and sculpture and a variety of other arts. And we think that we should actually, and this is what the reason why we set up this show as African Knowledge, is to try to identify in the community all those skills that are out there that they need to be promoted, because one of the issues with our community is we do a lot of things, but we don't invest enough time to promote what we do, and that if you live in a market-driven society such as Australia, and the whole international scene is becoming quite market-driven, it means you have to learn to promote what you are doing, and it's part of our responsibility to promote things that we're doing. And the good thing is that nowadays with the online technology, all of us can actually promote things a lot better. We can reach out to a lot more people through online technology. We just have to put our mind into it. We have to support each other where we can, work together where we can, and be able to contribute. Because one of the criticism that you get from many other sort of countries about Africa, although Africa is not a country, it's a continent. But they say that we Africans are not contributing much to the whole human story, which is quite wrong. Because if you go through history, you'll see a lot of things that have come from Africa. But right now, it looks like because we do not market, we do not utilize the media and the technology that we have sufficiently. We're kind of absent out there in the on the international scene. So we have to be able to do that more often. And we want you to, be part of this story. We have an image that we need to promote, an image that we need to change, because our image is quite distorted because of all the negativity and the negative media reporting that has happened since colonization, or even before colonization. You have the stories of the the Westerners who visited Africa and who reported on Africa as a continent. For them, that was kind of weird and all that sort of thing. That has built up over the years, and up to today, a lot of the stories on the international stage about Africa remain quite negative. So it's incumbent on us as African to be able to tell a different story, and we can do that in many ways. Those who have lots of skills in writing can write. Those who have skills in audiovisual media can use that, whether it's through a podcast or broadcast and all that sort of thing. So we want to be able to work with you guys. Whatever skill you have, whatever knowledge you have, come and share with us and see how we can perhaps think of something that on a regular basis can be used to highlight a specific aspect of our society that is not yet highlighted sufficiently, because there is a lot of work. It's not a work that can be done by one person. In the Australian context, for example, we don't have all that many African media platforms. We should have more. We have a few platforms such as those coming from like SBS and stuff, which are usually limited to just particular communities, because most of that is done in specific languages of different communities, and that has its value because we still need to keep that connection with our languages and our countries. But we also need to look at a broader platform where we communicate through English or other language that connects us more, such as Swahili and other similar languages, where we get to reach more from others, and that is very important. I see John commenting, I think we need to tell our youth to diversify their careers. Media is very powerful. Let's utilize AMA. It can be our mouthpiece. Absolutely. Yeah, we've been calling for young people to come and work with us, but it's not always as easy as you think it would be, but that has often not always yield fruit. But right now, with the live stream technology, it's actually making a lot of things easier. I remember when we started AMA about 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago, we were doing a lot of videos where you had to first go to a site and do the filming, and then come and do the editing, and then the publishing. That's a lot of work. Now with live stream technology, a lot of that work can now be avoided and just limited to preparing and presenting the show, because editing is actually one of the biggest issue when it comes to audio visual media. So young people out there, you can actually contribute through the AMA platform from the comfort of your home. You can through your laptop, just like we connected with Vincent tonight. You can come and we can actually train you to do presentation from your home. You don't have to come to the studio. When eventually things are open up with COVID gone, hopefully it will, but who knows how long it's staying. We may have more opportunities to physically invite you physically into the studio, so you can come and have a look at how we put some of these things together, but a lot of those things can be done online. So that's just a message. We want to encourage young people out there with humorous skills to contact Vincent and see if you can work with comedians. We'll try to actually bring a lot more comedians on this show to comment on a variety of things that's happening, and then bring a little bit of fun into the show, because sometimes we just may be too serious. We need to put a little bit of fun into this, and sharing knowledge. There's this concept of infotainment, information and entertainment, that is actually quite prevalent now, where you're trying to give people information and educate them, but using comedy. And that's one thing that we would like to be able to do here, and we'll obviously welcome any contribution of anyone wanting to be part of that. So that brings us to the end of this show tonight. Please share the video, like our YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/Africa Media Oz, Africa Media Oz. That's our YouTube channel, and you can like and click on the notification bell so you are notified when we publish. And also, that's the subscription. You like our Facebook page, which is africamedia.australia, and contact us if you have something to share, or if you know somebody who has something that they can share with us. Refer them to us, and we'll be more than happy to have them on the show. Until next time, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you.